everybody, and welcome to my channel. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Today we'll discuss NagornoKarabakh, Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and what is exactly happening. Of course, ceasefire has not lasted in NagornoKarabakh. Erdogan has been making significant statements over the weekend, and he's actually hurting his own economy. I did a video previously in regards to how dire the Turkish economy truly is, and I will post a link to that video. However, what is going on? So this weekend, Erdogan made a statement stating that he does not recognize Crimea as being Russia's. What does that mean in a sense? Of course, Russia made immediate statements saying that they're condemning and also that there's no way there could be any type of dealing going further with Turkey or any type of union or any type of amicable decisions. Already there's been warning to Russians issued in regards to travel to Turkey. Overall, issuing warning is not a big deal. However, what is a big deal about this scenario is that Turkey lives off Russian tourists. Majority of travel economy is basically on Russians. All their all-inclusive resorts have 90% of Russian tourists. And it has been for a while. Also, especially this year, because of coronavirus and border closures previously, it created a huge unfavorable situation for cities like Antalya in Turkey because Russians weren't traveling there for vacation. And recently, they've been able to travel since about July, August, and a lot went to Turkey, and now issuing that warning will tremendously hurt Turkish economy. The same thing happened a while back. This is not the first time, but this time it's pretty serious. Additionally, Erdogan condemned Russia, US, and France, accusing them of sending weapons to Armenia. He also made a strong statement that Azerbaijan should have their lands returned and that Azerbaijanis should live there, and basically in that kind of scenarios, and Armenians living there would have to be pretty much relocated. But this is not the end of all of this. Now he's saying that he's concerned about Crimean Tatars living in Crimea. Crimean Tatars are Muslim, and it's a small population living in Crimea. And there's also Tatars living in Russia, but Crimean Tatars are a little bit different, but still Tatars. Also, there was never been tensions between Tatars and Russian in Crimea as far as Soviet Union is concerned. Yes, there was also Tatar-Mongolian ego when a lot of them raped Russian women, but that was like very long time ago, and clearly it was 12th century, actually 12th, 13th century when the whole thing happened. But nevertheless, so now Erdogan is stating that, so he wants to have more conflicts. And obviously Putin can only be pushed so much, and Putin has so much patience before he'll actually react. And Erdogan is starting to go into dangerous trajectory. Nagorno-Karabakh situation is not resolved. Armenia says the only way something can possibly happen is if Azerbaijan comes to the table in the next 2 days. That is the statement of Armenian president made this morning. And nevertheless, it does not seem like Azerbaijan is going to be making any concessions. So what will happen next is that Armenia will recognize Nagorno-Karabakh as an independent region, period. In that way, there's not going to be Azerbaijan's or anything. It's going to be independent, and then pretty much at that point it will fall under international law to decide. But meanwhile, there's innocent people, children are dying because there has been consistent fights going on. Iran even said that the Azerbaijanis hit some of the targets in Iran, even though Azerbaijan claims it was incidental, but nevertheless, Iran is not going to stand for that. A lot of people are not going to stand for that. And at the end of the day, it is possible the Turkish economy cannot sustain all of this. Erdogan's grandiose plans of restoring Ottoman Empire is not going to be successful. But at the end of the day, he's going to have a lot of blood on his hands. I'm surprised that he's not even charged with crimes against humanity, but I guess being part of NATO, clearly, NATO is not doing anything. In reality, he should be condemned immediately. Greece condemned him, Cyprus condemned him. He's going into a lot of territories and causing a lot of problems, and there's innocent people dying. This is the biggest part about it, all because of his personal geopolitical agenda. So let's get back to Nagorno-Karabakh. Russia already issued travel advisory to Turkey, so tourism right now will go down. Nagorno-Karabakh, the bloodshed continues. Is Azerbaijan going to make concessions in 2 days? No, because it feels empowered by Turkey. So there's going to be more bloodshed. Eventually, Russia will, they did not want to step in directly, obviously, with Armenia because they wanted to maintain both positive relations between both Azerbaijan and Armenia. However, when Erdogan makes statements about Crimea, and Erdogan made those statements while meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky, nevertheless, and if you think about it, okay, great, but what does Ukraine have to offer? Right now, Ukraine has almost nothing left. And lately, they actually signed with Poland, which is great for Poland, and I think it's a great strategic move for Poland to buy up majority of Ukrainian factories. So Ukraine will not own their own factories. They will pretty much, Donbas region is pretty much a gun deal there too, because even though it's in status quo and limbo, so that's cold. What does Ukraine have left from assets? And US is not going to be forever sponsoring Ukraine. As much as it's a great strategic buffer for NATO, it cannot be supported for the rest of its life, and at the end of the day, there comes a point just having a Russian border and strategic location is not enough. And also, everything else that's happening, Ukraine is not sustainable, and it's going to only go worse. Lately, and adding everything that's happening around Russian borders too. Even though Putin made a great gesture by easing certain sanctions on certain factories, but it only has to do with the fact that Poland is actually buying them, because it's going to be convenient for Russia to make certain deals with Poland. But nevertheless, I mean, the whole situation is getting dire by the days there too, but yet, Erdogan thinks Ukraine is going to be an ally, or Ukraine going to be strategically beneficial now. That's not going to happen at all. And also, again, it depends what happens a lot with US politics too, because in previous presidencies under Obama, Ukraine was supported a lot. Biden had a lot of different connections with Ukraine, true or not, and I'm not going to get into those discussions, but nevertheless, Trump doesn't, and I'm not going to get into American politics whatsoever, but everybody's kind of getting tired of supporting Ukraine too. Now, let's get back to Azerbaijan one more time. Because of the situation in NagornoKarabakh, there's actually been reported in Israel fighting between Armenian and Azerbaijanis. There's also been a big march in Toronto from Azerbaijani Canadians. However, I always look at it with a very interesting perspective. If you are so concerned about your historic land, why aren't you in Azerbaijan? Why aren't you booking a ticket and going and fighting Nagorno-Karabakh? Why all the innocent people have to die? If you have such a strong stance, why aren't you there fighting? Because I believe once you become an American or a Canadian, you support the nation you live in. The same goes for myself. My parents are Eastern European background and actually mostly Russian. But in reality, I would never think of supporting Russia. I support the country I live. I support the West. I'm a Western national. But this is my belief. This is outside the scope of this video. But nevertheless, what I'm saying is there's other fightings that's going to start happening. Also, it's quite plausible Germany could be next, because Germany has population of Azerbaijanis and Armenians living there. In US, it's mostly Armenians. California has a very big diaspora of Armenians. So does actually Toronto. So it was very surprising that Azerbaijanis came on the street on Toronto over the weekend, especially, and also risking health and safety of everybody else, because right now Toronto is in phase 2 modified due to coronavirus. So having such protests only helps to spread additional coronavirus in Canada, who are not involved in Nagorno-Karabakh. So I always have a concern with that, but that's my personal opinion on that matter. But nevertheless, I would love to know what everybody thinks. What do you think will happen? I'm sure Putin will retaliate. It's already travel warning for Russians. Next, the borders with Turkey will be closed. That will be next, and I guarantee it will happen, because when Erdogan starts going into certain trajectories and making certain statements and actually affecting interest and actually creating tensions in the regions, for example, Crimea Tatars, there shouldn't be that, because at the end of the day, it's the innocent peoples that will take the brunt of fighting, death, and turmoil and disparity. It's not going to be the political games. And also, at the end of the day, Erdogan has no business in Azerbaijan. Erdogan has no business in Crimea either. Because if you're going to start going with historic, then at the end of the day, Turkey should be paying than Russia, because when Tatar-Mongolian ego happened, Russian women were raped. So if you're going to start going back that down the line, then let's bring all that up too. Because then if he's supporting that, inadvertently he's basically saying that it is okay to do that. So when you go back too far into history and start claiming every historic land, it's going to create a lot of problems, because that is why the West condemned the Crimea annexation, because originally Crimea was Russian. It was never Ukrainian until Soviet Union border change. So therefore, at that point, if you're going to go with history, then should Crimea be Russian? Then at that point, everybody should recognize Crimea as Russian. Same goes for Nagorno-Karabakh. Historically, there's many border divisions that happened. Part of Western Ukraine was Polish. So should Poland annex it now and take it back based on historic and demand the return of their lands? Because Lviv and Kolomea and all those regions were actually Polish before. Borders change a lot. So what does everybody think? Please click like, please subscribe to my channel, and you can also read my articles under Kristina Kitova at communalnews.com, and hope everybody has a great day. Thanks again!